Hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Steins Gate 0, Season 1, Episode 8. Makise Kurisu's back.
Yep.
After really, starting Steins Gate 0 and trying to understand and grasp what this series is really about, which world line this is really in, I was extremely confident we would never be seeing Makise Kurisu again. I was surprised and told I was stupid by myself once I saw an AI version of Makise Kurisu.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm even stupider because Makise Kurisu.
We've switched world lines. I have everything is just questions.
I need
in my
answers.
head. Yeah, I just need answers.
Ready?
Yes.
Sweet. Hasn't he gone through enough?
Happy New Year.
Do you think she'll know? There's no baseline understanding about world line changes, so I'm not sure.
I'm so confused about what she knows, what we will be explaining to her, why Okabe hasn't been there, even though she's still alive.
I mean, let's assume, just for the sake of conversation, what we talked about in the discussion, maybe because of Mayuri dying, maybe in this world line, is the reason he stopped going to the lab. I mean,
would he respond the same way, grieving?
Yeah, which would further perpetuate the idea that there's one place we need to get to, and neither of these world lines work out. This could be exactly what Okabe needs to realize that the what if of if Kurisu lived and Mayuri died wasn't a better one.
Yep.
And he needs to keep trying to find something.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think we might be having Kurisu Maho interactions.
Maybe.
Maho should probably still be here with the professor. They didn't come to Japan because Kurisu died.
Is Suzaha here? No, right? Yeah. Yes. She is. Maybe.
She is dead.
Tuturu.
Is the hourglass gone?
We saw it on its side at the end of the last episode. Wow. When? Wow.
So we're here with Kurisu, but we don't even have the phone microwave. Yeah.
But it seemed like from the picture, it wasn't Mayuri dying back then.
Yeah, it's a more recent death, if anything.
Is Amadeus? Yeah, Amadeus isn't here.
Heart attack. She still will die. By the world.
Russia?
Earthquake in Russia.
Wow. Wow.
That looks like the same day from the picture on the board.
Yep.
So maybe it wasn't recent.
Wow.
エシュロンのデータをクラッキングするのをやめたのはオカリンだろ。自分でもずっと言い続けてたじゃんか。俺がマユシを殺した。俺がそれを選択したんだって。なんで電話レンジもタイムリープマシンも破棄したん。今更後悔するくらいだったら残しておけばよかった。はい、マキシです。オカリンに会ったお。やっぱラボにも来たんだよね。もし生きてたらそんな世界があったらって。僕さ、オカリンになんで今更そんなことって怒っちゃったけどさ、ひょっとして
That he just got here. I think they're putting the pieces together.
I don't know why this is hitting me so hard. It feels like it's opening up an old wound.
Have his location? Wow.
It fucking sucks because I miss Kurisu so much in the story. I'm getting her, but
the guy that gave up on her would never sit in that spot.
Oh my god.
Recent development? Did he everyone do that?
I won't say.
Maybe they were worried about him, like, so they wanted to be able to find him at all times.
Wow. I would call it Phone Microwave Zero.
So she was gonna keep trying.
Well, it is, but...
The you who loved me, you're telling me to kill her again. Shit.
Kurisu has to be one of the most selfless characters, man.
Daru probably feels a little uncomfortable there. Probably felt a little bad because he knows the alternative was Kurisu dying.
The song. It's the same song, just like orchestral. It's gorgeous.
First place they met? No. How does he know about that?
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm glad that she's being filled in. I feel like we need her.
The time machine theory. Because she came with the paper when we first saw her. Someone hacked Amadeus for the time machine data.
Wow.
Is this the graveyard? Are we taking him to Mayuri's grave? Is it next to her grandma? Holy. Like she did when her... And Kurisu was in his place instead. Just like Mayuri.
Ugh. You're my hostage.
このままじゃ岡部が押しつぶされてしまう。なんて顔してんのよ。私の知ってる法王院京馬さんならもっと自信に満ちた顔しなくちゃ。まゆりに笑っていてほしかった。それだけなのよ。そしてそれは私も同じ。戻りなさい、岡部倫太郎。あなたが今ここにいるのは夢でしかない。現実に帰るの。
Dream.
そう。
It's Mayuri.
私のことは忘れなさい。
できるわけないだろう。
できなくてもしなさい。それが私の望みなんだから。
Oh.
今回のあなたの世界線変動の原因はわからない。タイムマシーンが絡んでいることは明白。
Yep.
こっちの私については断言できないけれど、こっちの世界線では私はあなたと出会ってタイムマシン理論を完成させてしまった。少なくとも深く関わりを持つ。
Did he help Amadeus finish the time machine theory somehow?
で、あとはそのメールを送ればあなたは元の世界線に戻れる。
Do you think it's like legitimately the same Kurisu from one of the first episodes when that happened?
これを送れば元の世界線に戻れる。まゆりが死んでいない、失わずに済む世界だが、そこにこいつはいない、クリスはいない。俺が殺してしまった。一番大切な
岡部。 あなたに会えてよかった。私も岡部のことが。
Okay, that was Steins Gate Zero, Season 1, Episode 8. That...
It hurts. I feel hurt. I feel sad.
I don't, like, this channel's basically been my main introduction into, like a lot of anime, right? I'd only seen a few things before, but, you know, one of the things I always reference Dragon Ball, right? And because I know a bit about Dragon Ball, I know what, like, retcons are, like, going back and changing source material, and I've only ever seen, I think, mid to okay to kind of good to just straight up bad examples of it. I don't think I've ever seen like something added. This doesn't feel like anything that could fit under the umbrella of a retcon. This feels like like additional information that is added on and helped intertwine Steins Gate Zero further into Steins Gate. It feels like something special, and it feels like it adds. I don't think for a second that when writing Steins Gate there was that intention of this D-mail that was sent, right, in mind. But when thinking about it in turn of this episode and the decision to add it in, I think it's perfect. I think it's beautiful, and it fucked me up. And this episode fucked me up. And I love it. Jesus.
I'm finding it hard to think of things to say other than just being blown away emotionally with what they've done to me with creating this similar but not anywhere close feeling to what Okabe feels, where it's like these two people of such vital importance to him that he loves so much, that he's the same in Kurisu's timeline and world line that he is in Mayuri's world line, that he stops going to the lab, he stops seeing all of his friends, he completely shuts down.
I think that if they didn't give me the visual at the end, I wouldn't have felt so I wouldn't have felt the way that I do now. I think that from the dialogue given in this episode prior to them giving me the ending scene, I was like, huh, like based off of how they described it and pressing the button and not being able to do it, that really sounds like that I think I know exactly where they placed that, but then in showing it, like, and in time, you're like, that's 22, that's the end of episode 22. Then that was
where you don't get to really finish a sentence, that the button is pressed before something important can be said and responded to, and that really hurt the end of episode 22. And this, I'm like, what have they done here? That she gets the text outside the door of don't come in, but comes in anyway. So
but just delayed it. Like, right, like if you don't get that text, he stops. He doesn't press it.
But he's already
pressed it.
Yep.
Fuck God. Oh, I didn't expect it to hit on so many notes too. I think that on one hand, I'm like, I love Kurisu. She's one of my favorite characters, like flat out. I love what she adds to the show in terms of the comedic moments with Okabe in particular. I like their romance in terms of conversation. But one of my favorite things that she adds to the show is like, it's hard for me to feel like anybody else within the entire cast is closer to Okabe's level of effect than her, Makise Kurisu. I think that, like, in Steins Gate, when we see how effective Kurisu is in terms of helping Okabe put the pieces together and revitalizes his morale, it was one of my it was the thing that cemented her for me as a character. And it's her pressing the button, I think, is if I'm Okabe for a second, then that takes the pain away just for a second. Just for a split second, you're not the only one making these decisions. And that is amazing.
It's magical, especially with the line in this episode that we've heard before of Okabe saying that, like, he's the one that killed Kurisu. He's the one that killed Mayuri in this world line. That he uses language like that, and he punishes himself, says that he's the one that did it. But really, Kurisu here, by making sure the message is sent, she decides it for herself completely. And it hurts. And also, it's like, yes, we get back to that world line that we were just in last episode, but what do you do next? Do you go back in time in that specific world line in order to make sure he has less contact with Amadeus? Is that what's safer for the future? The theory was already within Kurisu before ever even meeting Okabe. Yes, she finished the theory upon meeting and interacting with him, but she had enough of a theory to print out a paper and give to her dad before meeting him. So Amadeus still has all of that information.
Well, it doesn't seem like Amadeus does, to some degree, like, because of how Amadeus answered the time machine, like, question. It feels like is time travel real? When Okabe, that was one of the first, if not the first question he asked Amadeus, and it was like slightly uncanny different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that information being different makes me believe that there was something altered in terms of the memories, which obviously a time machine's involved, but I don't know how nefarious it is.
One thing I want to just bring into this, as a reminder, is that not all of the data is stored within Kurisu Amadeus.
Yeah.
We know that there is like this other location that data is stored. And so the Kurisu we talk to, her answers to those things could be a little different. Someone else could have known that she was working on that paper that she was going to give to her dad. Someone else could have known that that data was there, existing in her. Someone else, she could have just sparked, Okabe could have sparked within Amadeus that data, that thinking of the time machine, and that him interacting with Amadeus is why this happened.
Or, like, it seemed like Amadeus showed some type of idea that they could alter the logs. And if that's true, then they could have talked to Amadeus previously, before Okabe ever did, about time machines, taken that response, deleted it from her own like memory and system, but kept the knowledge themselves.
It would shock me if we were to, she's an academic, she's a scientist, she's writing a paper. Professor Leskinen is a trusted senior to her, a professor who she might riff off of or show the paper to before giving it to her dad, or bring up that she was writing it.
Yeah.
Or Maho. I don't think Maho, because I'm not really suspicious of Maho. I'm suspicious of the two professors. But Kurisu, I feel like, totally could have plausibly brought up this research or theory that she had in order to help her dad.
What are you working on? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm writing this thing for me and my dad to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
If you'll do me the honor, I'd like to read the message from episode 2 of Steins Gate Zero when Okabe asks the question, and just be able to refresh my memory a little bit. Do you think one could build a time machine? A time machine, you say? Why ask that? What's the point of asking about time machines? And it's interesting that Maho's the one to do, because it seems innocent when, like, I don't think Maho's involved, you know?
But it also could be inquisitive in the way that Maho could have known that Kurisu was looking into time machines, and is like, does this guy really actually know her? Why are you asking about that? Is that a test to see if it's really the Kurisu you know?
Interesting.
Like, she came here to give a talk.
Yeah.
About it. About her theories, and then giving the paper to her dad. So
it's just slightly uncanny.
We can have tons of theories, honestly, of what actually.
What do you think the
happened
reason
in
for the
past.
GPS was?
Unfortunately, my first thought was, like, watching him. If this was we saw later in the episode that he was mimicking Mayuri's actions that had worried him when he was younger, that she was just going to disappear one day, that she was reaching her hand toward heaven, hoping to be taken away to be with her lost family member.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like it was for his safety, and for them to feel like they could find him at any time, especially if he's not going to come around the lab. It was probably a security measure that both, like, Daru and Kurisu did. That's my first, like, thought.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I think that one of the main things that really got me in this episode was the, like, exact mirroring of positions and like of characters, whereas, like, in Steins Gate it was Okabe and Mayuri in that situation, and it just being a perfect. I didn't even think they'd go as far as to show Okabe reaching up to the sky there. That destroyed me.
I think that it's great that how he responds to the deaths are similar enough, but different enough to show that he was grieving different people.
Yeah.
Similar enough to show that this is Okabe when he's grieving someone that he feels like he tried so hard to save, but different because of the specific person was different. And I really like that there is that kind of relationship between similar and dissimilar.
Yeah. Do you think that... I don't know. It involving Russia...
Yeah, what was it, an earthquake in Russia that it said? That's
a red flag.
Right.
Dude, one of my favorite scenes in the episode by far, one of my favorite characters, Daru. I loved that he had this moment with Okabe, that he pulls him outside, pushes him up against a wall, and says, there are things that you can say, but you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And coming from now knowing the perspective of what this world line really was and is, I'm glad that Daru said something. It makes
I think what makes that moment and interaction even better, other than just the fact of like loving that he got so... I don't think we've ever necessarily seen Daru get so upset with Okabe over something.
Yeah.
Daru's normally a little softer, a little quieter about the emotions. We see him open up a little bit more emotionally with Suzuha at a couple episodes ago. She really helps get another glimpse at Daru on an emotional side.
Yeah.
To see him angry at this Okabe, like, you ditched us and now you're gonna, and you destroyed the time machine and now you're gonna be talking about what if.
Yep.
Like, it's been a year. And I love that, but I love that right after he left that conversation, he has like the awareness and the care enough for Okabe that in that moment, yes, he was heated. He was like, what the hell? Why would that? There's a time and a place. There's also things you shouldn't say. And then once he was removed from that interaction, he was like, wait, what was up with Okabe there? Like, let me think about this a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Because I was in the moment and my immediate thoughts and feelings came out in my reaction, but I know this guy. And so he calls Kurisu and he asks Kurisu and he brings it up to Kurisu, and they have this moment of kind of almost silent understanding that, yeah, this is not their Okabe.
I think it's very easy for me to say, like, I would date Suzuha. Like, if, like in the future, right? Because we're, we're aged, right? But I think that, like, yeah, I date Suzuha, but, like, in terms of, like, marriage, like, or, like, you, like, really, I don't know. I think that I'd like, go with Kurisu.
If you were to pick?
Yeah. I haven't looked too much into it, but when I was trying to talk to my brother about Steins Gate, he was like, oh, I saw that on Steam one time. So I think that it's some sort of game, and he had referenced it being a visual novel. And I only know a little bit about visual novels, mostly from you. And sometimes they're romances.
I'm a big Otome visual novel fan.
So I'm like, if it was a visual novel where I, like, that's, like, romance, like, who would I pick?
Which it probably is.
There's
no way it's not.
I think I'd pick Kurisu.
I would want to know who all the options were to be able to decide. But I would probably pick Ruka.
That's fair. I love
Ferris
Ruka.
Could be fun, though.
Oh, Ferris is...
I also would be
reaction,
curious
oh my God.
if Maho was an option. Because sometimes in...
Audio issue.
Audio glitch, sorry. Sometimes in visual novels or otome games, there's a certain love interest that you can unlock at a certain point in time after you've already finished, like, the paths of the characters that you knew existed.
True.
And then there's, like, this character that after you've finished all of them, they get unlocked and you're like, what? That would be
I guess it depends on what the game is, right? Because we're not looking into it because out of just risk of anything, but if it was made before Steins Gate Zero was made, then obviously it wouldn't have Maho in it.
Right. Maho is probably, like, just a new character.
DLC
Maho. Well, sometimes those games get a chapter 2, and she would probably be in that.
If they're, like, after we're done Steins Gate Zero, I'm not sure if there's more out there, because we obviously we're struggling understanding what Steins Gate Zero was before we even started watching it, when we were putting it on polls. But if there isn't, I would be extremely interested in playing the games.
I'm playing it. If it's a thing, I am playing it when we are done.
Yeah.
And I will be so excited about that. If it's what we're
theorizing.
We're theorizing that it is as a game, then it's right up my alley, and I would be blessed to play it. Because if whatever came first, the chicken or the egg here, I mean, this is great. So I would be led to believe that a game, visual novel especially, I mean, come on, like sometimes like video games made from anime aren't necessarily like, they don't look the best because they're more like fighting games.
Yeah.
Arena style fighting games. But this, as a game.
As a fighting game?
Amazing. Amazing. I would pick Suzuha.
Yeah.
What if you could romance Suzuha, but also steal Suzuha's mom from Daru, and then in like a different path, and then Suzuha ends up being like your daughter in the future in a different path in the game?
Interesting. That'd be weird.
It'd be so weird.
Because would you be playing as Ocarine?
Yeah.
If you are, then you'd be romancing your niece.
But yeah, maybe you're not allowed to date Suzuha.
You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.